Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Come on, tap it.
Doors of the Love Church are now open. Dear world, you name it, we cover it from the world of singles to the behind the scenes of the greatest movie ever filmed, called Marriage. We dig into everything from dating 101. Why won't they commit? It's complicated. I can't do it if it's the three of us. They're a good person, but I'm not attracted to them in that way. 2, they really didn't disclose who they were before I said I do. How do I do this if they can't keep a job? The bills are paid, but the bedroom is suffering. Did I marry you or did I marry your family because we only can take care of us? Let's open up our marriage. Why do I have to buy into your beard gang illusion? You could have told me you were down low and we could have remained friends and not married. And last but not least, did you marry me or your pastor? Have we gotten your attention yet? If so, tune in to Unique Perspectives Love Talk Radio, Thursday at 4:30 p.m. Central Standard Time, if you want to hear more of today's real issues in the world of love. The doors of the Love Church are now open.
Greetings, everyone, and welcome to Unique Perspectives Love Talk Radio. I'm your host, Charles Dixon, and I'm here with my co-host, Mr. Adam Ford. How are you, sir?
What's up, fam? I'm doing good today. Been a little bit a bit busy today. Actually, this week has been a little bit crazy, but otherwise, God is good. We're still here. We're in the land of the living.
Cool.
Thank God.
Cool.
Creek didn't rise, as my grandma would say. Creek didn't rise. We still here, so we still making it.
Oh, man. You know, meanwhile, in my world.
Right. Meanwhile, in your world.
I was walking to the store with the theme music. I'm just kidding, but anyway. All right. So, man, this should be a interesting. Well, first of all, we always got to talk about another week and another distraction.
Oh God! Now what are you going to talk about?
Last time it was Shannon. This time it's Diddy.
Oh,
They got for the distractions. All it is, because if you think about it, it's like a movie. These little, I call them releases, are released onto the information highway to distract us. And when we get distracted, we lose sight of what's really, really in front of us. And that kind of continues to set us back because they know if no other people love drama, it's us. We get oh, with a popcorn. Oh my God, we get there, go through the foolishness, and next thing you know, the election is passed, and we sitting there still looking and commenting on Instagram and X and all the foolishness. But anyway, so today's topic is a bit different. It's kind of more, it's meant to be lighthearted, but at the same time, it is something that's really should hopefully open some eyes to how we are meeting people, because everyone is out here looking and searching, and where is my queen, my king, all of these things.
Right.
Meanwhile, we're living how we're living, but still hoping and expecting, right? But then it's just like, so at the end of the day, I felt like we should maybe get into the weeds and kind of peel the layers back on this and kind of see what we find. You want to go ahead and do the honors, sir?
Sure. You didn't really do a lead in, so I don't know how to segue it. But
Yeah,
we're going to read it code. We're going to read it code.
Yeah, that's it.
Whatever, dude. All right, on common ground, the best way to meet someone today. For many years, we have heard the famously coined phrase, opposites attract, as a nudge to leave our options wide open when preparing to search for that special someone. This notion drives the belief of two completely different people standing on extreme sides of their respective positions in life, somehow inspiring one another to take the gamble of curiosity to meet in the middle of the theory of maybe offsetting one another's differences because of their indifference. On the other hand, I believe that the more we naturally share at our core beings, the greater our chances of coexisting naturally and forming the proper augmented version of a friendship bond, which then leads to a healthy relationship.
Stuff. Don't hate me. Anyway,
Oh, yeah, I ain't wait on that. The one from last week was good, but
oh God. So listen. So let's think about that for a minute. Most people, I mean, I could be wrong, but I really am moved to believe most of us that when we connect, when we meet someone, when we, discover this is what I want to pursue, I want to date, whatever. I don't think that we really consider if the ground we're meeting on is common ground. And I say that, I'm going to give you an example. Anytime there's nice weather out, summer, spring, there is no shortage of events. I mean, in all sorts of cultures, areas, parks, different things that happen, right? Mm-hmm. And especially in our communities, typically it's always, oh, there's a day function over there, or somebody's throwing a ball over there, somebody's throwing a sneaker ball, somebody's throwing. It's always something, right? Okay. So you think about it. These are events that are seemingly attractive to people that are single or looking to mingle, right? So when you go to these places, they're not necessarily saying I'm potentially meeting someone on common ground. They're just saying I'm going to a venue where potentially available people are.
Okay.
So you can meet someone there, and they could, and I'm only going down this path because I want us to focus how sometimes I think we fail to realize how stronger of a chance of really, really connecting to someone if we connect through the means of commonality.
Okay.
Once we're out and once we're meeting someone, you can meet somebody and they'll say to you, people can give you whatever narrative out when you're out somewhere. They can tell you whatever they want you to hear, whether their status is true or not, whether they live alone or not, whatever the case is. Or more importantly, when it comes to the things that matter to you, let's take you for Adam. You was like, look, I love reading books. I love to go here, or I love this, that, and the other.
Right.
A person can sit there and say, yeah, me too, but not really mean it because they're just entertaining the conversation. But if we peel that back, and let's just say, I'm going to use Bruce as an example. Nobody throws stones. I'm just using my boy Bruce.
Oh, God. Here we go.
Bruce. If Bruce was at a huge function where there were business owners flipping houses, that is considered Bruce's common ground. You know what I'm saying? Meaning, if there were people of the opposite sex there, they are people that directly have something in common with Bruce. You know what I'm saying? Or if we were in church, right? Of course, church, we have all sorts of people. We're not saying that's where all the great people are. Right? We're not saying that. But the institution of church itself is common ground for someone who subscribes to church. So I'm trying to get us to look at how we are picking people and meeting people under the auspices of situational connections that really don't have any basis. And then we wonder why we're not progressing. We may not get along as well, and so on and so forth. And I believe if we were to stop and take a deep look and say, look, this person that I'm with, do we really share strong commonality or no?
Right.
We'll start there.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I would propose that commonality is not something that you automatically know from the beginning. And I think all of us would stand on that side of it. I am of the persuasion, in terms of my own personal experience, that commonality is something that is discovered through communication.
Right.
It's only through the means and the mechanism of communication that we discover and begin to explore the things that we have in common. And it's important that we do have things in common. Otherwise, there can really be no relationship. There won't be anything that we will be able to relate to between the two of us because we don't have anything in common. And if you think about it, a lot of times when you go on those first dates and have those first conversations, one of the reasons why you don't go on a second and a third and a fourth date with that person is because you realize that through that communication that you had with them, you didn't have anything in common. You talked the whole time, they talked, they shared, and in all of their sharing and all of the communication, you realize we don't have nothing in common. You know what I'm saying? And here's the thing, though, Charles. I'm about to mess with some people. Okay, I'm about to mess with you, especially some of the church folk.
Okay.
That just because we go to the same church doesn't mean that we have the same things in common. You would think that it would be that way,
right?
But if we're being real and having an honest conversation about this, just because we go to the same church doesn't mean we have something in common. Oh, I'm about to mess y'all up real good. Watch this. Just because we are all saved and believers does not automatically mean we have things in common. Again, let's do this. Let's understand that common ground is only discovered when we communicate. And for you to assume that you have something in common with somebody who goes to the same church, who works at the same place, who shops at the same store, that goes to the same library, it doesn't work like that. You got to actually, through the means and mechanism of communication, talk about yourself, divulge yourself, disclose yourself, so that the other person can begin to assess and ascertain as to whether or not we have anything in common. Otherwise, you're never going to know. And so, again, you can't assume that everybody who's doing what you do, go where you go, looking like you look, is going to have something in common. That is something that happens when we talk to one another.
Yes.
That is something that happens when we begin to disclose who we are as people.
But see, where you're coming from is after the connection is made. Where I'm coming from is where we grow out from, the soil of where we meet.
Okay.
So what I'm saying is good ground constitutes how things grow or not. If something has a good seed, it'll grow well. If it doesn't, it'll wither. So the point I was trying to say was, yes, you're absolutely right. Let's just stay on the church thing. You're absolutely right. We could say, so what? We at the same church. We don't even like the same things, right? But if the one advantage is, at least we are hinged upon the same soil. And if we are both receiving that, letting that word come across that pulpit, hit us correctly, there are some things we should be able to have a starting point to agree from, and at least discuss to begin to get to know. I mean, no, there is no such thing as like commonality. Doesn't mean we're twins. It just means we like things. We like a few things together. You still have your individual self. I still have my individual self. But there are some commonalities that hinge us together. So that's where I was coming from is from the perspective of if we go out here, yes, I can go outside right now and see somebody across the street, strike up a conversation and start saying, I didn't know you went to Oxford, whatever, just making up stuff, saying whatever you're saying. You're like, oh, me too. And you're going on and on and on. But that doesn't mean, besides that, there is some real commonality there. We just met on a random whim, right? So I guess what I'm trying to say is our foundations serve as the anchors as to what helps us grow solid. when you meet someone on solid and mutual foundation is what I'm trying to say. And not necessarily church, just whatever your thing is. It's a mutual foundation. You understand? As opposed to just winging it and going out there. Like I was saying to you earlier in the show.
Yeah.
Places like your church, or let's just whatever someone's belief, or let's just say there is some cultural things like any kind of cultural thing is considered like a common ground. Okay. And what I told you earlier, today we are faced with online cyber world, right? Online dating, which many people have met people and are with people from those things, right? But that online dating is engineered ground. It's not common ground, because you're on there like a what do you call them, when a conveyor belt. Here comes Adam, here comes Charles, whatever. You're on this conveyor belt, but nothing is common about it. You got every race in the book. You got every type of this, that, and the other. Sick, well, okay, crazy, hiding, pervert. It's all crazy. It's not common. So my point I'm saying is, if you are fortunate enough to meet someone in those means and it be a positive interaction, then consider yourself have fallen under grace and under good grace, right? But for the most part, it is not considered common ground. It's engineered ground. So that's what I'm saying is, we got to think about some of these things, and we have to peel the onion back to say, let me really think about this. Like aside from me being crazy about this person, or really thinking they're cool or pretty or handsome, whatever, do I have some real common ground with them? Because that's your foundation. And that is what's going to carry you when you don't feel like walking no more. That's what's going to take you over. And I'll say this and let it go to this side to you is, what I say? I said, the further from common you are, the closer to indifference you will be. So you gotta say to yourself, and this is a wake-up show, right? Because it's not to say that people don't have things in common, but we need to pay attention to what's there and what's not. And that's what helps you begin to say, let's work on building this. If it's not something that we are readily noticing, let's talk about something so that we can make sure we're connecting. Because guess what? These marriages and relationships are disintegrating because we are physically with people that we don't like doing things with. I'm with you physically, but I would prefer to go over there and enjoy life with them. Right. And so that comes from not starting off with an even keel foundation. You're just picking a person because they got money, they look attractive, they got a nice body. Okay, we hang out some of the same spots. Oh, I saw this person over here. We met in the airport. Okay, fine. But those things don't necessarily get you what you want. Okay. Ultimately, that's all I'm saying.
I know what you're saying. I hear what you're saying. Some of that I agree with, some of it not so much. And again, I'm only coming from my own personal experience. So in regards to the whole online thing, the whole online situation. So
okay, yeah, no, I'm just making. Go ahead, man.
So so my own personal experience. I don't know if you guys know this or not. You may not know, but I'll go ahead and divulge today. So that's where me and Maria met. We met online. We met in an online dating website. Yeah. So the dating website, you set up your profile, you have to answer certain questions, and hopefully you're truthful in terms of answering your questions and making sure that you have the most accurate, honest, authentic information put into the system. And as a result of you putting it into the system, the system, matches you with people who you seem to have the most common in with. It does it by percentages, based on how well the system, based on the questions that you answered, how well it believes you will be able to have a relationship with this particular person. Now, having said that, again, if you're not going to be honest with the questions and answering the questions honestly, then you're going to end up with a false positive because of the fact that, now you're messing up with this person. But when you answer the question, you didn't answer that question truthfully. So now you're matched with somebody who you really don't have anything in common with. Okay. So here's the thing. So the reality is that, okay, yeah, Charles, you might be right to a certain degree that it is engineered ground. But I would push back on you and say that when a farmer sows seed into the ground in order to prepare that seed, and this is just a little small thing, he has to toil or till that ground.
Yeah.
So when he plants that seed has the best chance of growth and producing fruit.
Yeah.
Couldn't we call that engineered? Because he tilled the soil. The soil wasn't already like that. He got the soil prepared. Now, again, I'm not saying in a negative way, but what I am saying is that it is engineered. There's an intention behind, and I know just give me a minute. I know what you're saying, that to some degree you don't think it's maybe not as authentic and as genuine as it should be. I don't care. Genuine, not genuine. Lord have mercy. Okay. But the thing that is, so right, genuine. That's a singer. But my point is this, is that even though the soil has been tilled, the seed still has the responsibility to grow in that soil that has been tilled, that has been prepared. Again, we have to prepare some things. We have to make some things ready so that what we need to do is actually done. So here's my point with this, and I think this is where we're really headed with this conversation.
Okay.
And that even though we might have some things in common with one another, and we through the means of conversation and communication are disclosing information to one another about ourselves so that we can find those things in common. But even if we have all these things in common, if we don't have chemistry, and see, this is what commonality is supposed to lead to. Commonality is supposed to foster chemistry.
Yeah.
Because chemistry is stronger than commonality.
Yeah.
Commonality means, we have these things in common. We've both experienced this. We've had a shared experience with this particular thing. That's fine and well. But what about that chemistry that we should have? Because chemistry begins to foster the relationship. So commonality fosters chemistry, whereas chemistry now begins to build into the relationship in and of itself. So those common things that we continue to have in common continue to build our chemistry with one another. And like you said, sometimes we get with people who, because they look good and they have so much money and they live in this house and they drive this kind of car. We could be good together. I can see how we can be, how we can flow together or whatever like that. But after a while, all of those things begin to fade away. And now you got to deal with the person versus the possessions that they have. You got to deal with them as a man or as a woman, not just the materials they possess, but you got to deal with their character. You got to deal with their morals. You got to deal with their values and those things that they consider to be important to them. Those are the things that are common that begin to lead to that chemistry we need to have. Because chemistry says it's not just about what we have in common, but I feel a vibe with you now.
Yeah.
I feel a connection with you now. We can ride together now. You know what I'm saying?
So what I've learned is that chemistry is so far from commonality.
Okay.
We can have chemistry with anybody from any walk of life if we're attracted to them.
Okay.
But that doesn't mean we have commonality. We just have chemistry, right? I can say, "Oh my God, who is what?" We don't know nothing about each other, don't care nothing about each other, but we have that chemistry because of the attraction, right? We got that part there. But I would go as far to say, when we are going into this and really looking at it wholeheartedly, it's just most of us, you're right, most of us are guilty of entering into things and unions with people without really doing the proper peeling back of the layers to see who we are really loving. Like, because we get so caught up in how it feels. I enjoy this feeling, in the big C word, our chemistry is so great, right? But then if you notice, when those storms brew, you see how quickly untethered you become. Because there has not been any established ground. It's just sort of like, oh, here we are in this situation, and I guess we can get through it. Are you sure? You've been through this before? Didn't I tell you 3 years ago? Oh, I don't remember. You didn't really retain it, but it was told to you. You just didn't really retain it. But the point is, you're saying some stuff. The one thing I will go back to is when you were talking about the tilling of the soil.
Mm-hmm.
The difference is he was tilling that which was already natural. He's just cultivating the natural soil that's already there.
Okay.
The online part is man's creation, man's engineering to steer us in the direction of meeting one another, right? It's not a natural thing. It's just a thing where it's just like social engineering, just like the messages we get put in our face every day. It's all engineering, right? So again, just like with anything, there are some positives and some negatives to it.
Right.
And that's why I said on the online dating thing, I consider people fortunate to come away from there with something that you deem valuable.
Okay.
You understand? In most cases, only because it's the risk associated with it is so high. Because number one, most of us are falling in love with someone behind the keyboard who's presenting to you a version of them that they want you to see, want you to know, right? And then there is the real them that a lot of times we still don't get to know. We just end up discovering through trial and error. We find out, I thought you told me you had a DC license and your license in Michigan. I'm just saying, but these things come from these kind of means of meeting people. We hide wives, families, husbands, children, all sorts of things because social engineering and dating to connect with someone is designed for you to focus on the exterior. And like what you said earlier, when you were talking about people put in there, oh, I like to take walks. Those people be on there telling they don't be telling the truth. They'll get on there and talk and all these different things, but they won't, they'll get on there and talk and they'll say all these things, but some people just create these platforms. Like Bruce said, we hide the real agenda. They create the platforms because they know this is the means to meeting people today. So I'm going to go along to get along and play along and see what comes out of it. And this is why we come away with so many brutal stories of people that have met online and over here. And I'm not saying online is all bad, but there are some things that people need to take those extra steps to be careful with who you are meeting there. That's for certain, right? And so, we just got to be careful when it comes to that. So yeah, I mean, man, yeah.
Okay, so again, I think my point is the fact that so if you take that online profile test or that questionnaire and you answer the questions, again, if you're not honest in answering those questions, because again, the whole purpose of answering those questions is to find somebody you have something in common with. If you answer those questions falsely, again, you're going to get you will get matched with somebody, but it won't be the match for you because you have not been honest in how you answer questions. Okay, let's move the dating website online experience to the side, and let's talk about when we meet people in person. We go on that date.
Yeah,
you give them false information about you, just like the whole license.
Yeah,
you said you had a license in DC. You said you had a license in Illinois, when in fact you only had a license in Michigan.
Right.
How would you give that false information about yourself? But yet we do this in our conversations with people that we meet because we want them to think about us in one particular way. We want them to see us in a particular light. We want to show them us, but we only want to show them a certain part of us that we want them to see. By doing this, we eliminate any type of commonality with the person, because now you've created this false narrative that doesn't exist. We have something in common with somebody who's not going to be real, who's not going to be authentic. You don't sit here and tell me stories and make up lies and fabricate all kinds of tales. Yeah. Who is the real you? And do I have anything in common with this particular person?
Yeah.
Do I know you? Or did you just send your ambassador to me to tell me all these stories as if to impress me, okay? But in all reality, we don't know each other because you haven't been honest in your communication. So we don't have it. I don't even know if we have anything in common because you've been lying the whole time.
Well, this is my whole point. Some of us just need to understand that some people are not there for the truth. They're there for the experience.
Okay.
They're not trying to come on there and tell you they from Detroit. I'm on here to be whoever I need to be to get wherever I need to go with you. That's what they're on there for. This is where I go back to the whole. So here, let's switch this really quick. I'm gonna give you a good example of. Do you know why? And I promise I'm gonna get off the online. I don't know why I keep talking about the online stuff. But anyway, do you realize why whenever someone falls in love from cyberspace, right? Whenever someone falls in love from cyberspace, this is what happens. You both get together, you notice you got this chemistry and you're vibing and feeling each other and all this. And then here's the major big question. What are we going to tell? How are we going to tell people we met? And I never understood, why do we get to that point to not want to be honest about the origin? And you know why? Because there's no seed attached to engineering. And we feel like people in our families or close friends will be like, oh my God, I knew there was something about Adam. You met him there. He's not from cyber. He's from Pluto. I'm just saying. You know what I mean when I mean people will discredit you real quick. Soon as you say, "Oh, she's a fine woman," and me and her met on there. How many other men that she'd have been at their house for Thanksgiving? I would get off of that side. I wouldn't trust them. So, but here's how biased this is. But when we say, Bruce, if we say, "Oh, that's so and so," you know her. Oh, she's from down at the Kingdom Hall. Oh, I knew I liked her. She's so sweet, because they can put a connection of a seed of common ground with them. But when we come out the blue sky with these options and people that we have met in these various random universes, it creates problems because now you are afraid to properly introduce them. So I say this: if you can own up to how you met them, stand on it.
Okay.
Don't be ashamed of cyber world, because we don't do it because we know people are going to be like, oh, you met them there. I didn't know. I see. Because some people, I have heard people literally say, oh, that changes things. If you ever told them you met someone somewhere and they could have liked the person, thought the person was nice. But when you tell them where you met them, Oh, my antenna goes up now. And you just like, well, dang. They still real people. Their skin is real, but they just almost feel like the people for the longest time before online dating and social media has become the predominant means of meeting someone. Because nowadays people will be in the grocery store. They'll be the only places people will kind of maybe forcefully meet someone is at a party or maybe a club, and even then they're on their phones.
Right.
But most people are meeting in the DMs or on these online sites. Well, before we got to this convincing mode of loving, living, and dating, before that, people would demonize online. They would just be like, "Who? Oh, no, you stayed for more. No, I sure wouldn't. I wouldn't. That person is this," because it was looked at as the pretend place. It's make believe. People are on there. They all on there swiping left, right, but it's really just the playground. It's the virtual playground. You go on there, you meet, you connect, you go do your little things, you get intimate, and guess you pretend with them, and guess what you do? Go right on back to the command center of your keyboard and start all over again. You understand what I'm saying? And so all I'm saying is living life through that lens does not constitute good ground when you're really, really looking to establish common ground with someone. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying it's totally bad, but 9 times out of 10, most of the things we get, if we're honest, from social media is the preference attraction-wise or the preference financially. Seemingly, if you don't find out the person is broke. You know what I'm saying? That kind of thing. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. So that kind of, again, it goes back to the fact that if you're not going to be honest about it, then you're going to end up with people that you don't match with because you weren't honest in the first place about what you really are about as a person. And then that's just real talk. So it just, I don't know. I guess maybe I lucked up. Maybe I got blessed. Maybe God had mercy and grace on me in terms of meeting Maria or whatever. But I just find it interesting that, when it comes to that kind of thing, and I really do believe that we're not talking about online dating. That's not today's topic. Today's topic is commonality.
Too late. It's online dating commonality.
It is if you're not going to, you can falsely fill out the information and get somebody who you think you might match with. But you still have an opportunity when you talk to that person to actually disclose who you are and be honest about who you are and be truthful about who you are. You know what I'm saying? And so you do have some agency when it comes to that, and not allowing just the lie that you told to continue to perpetuate, but to actually say, okay, this is who I really am. Because let's be honest, when we do meet somebody for the first time, we're not really honest.
No.
We may dress a certain way, but you don't dress like that every day.
All the time. Yeah.
You may talk a certain way, but you don't talk like that every day.
Yeah.
You have sent your representative in the hopes that possibly this person can be somebody for me. And in the process of having a conversation with them, we discover that we have some things in common so that we can work from that spot and move forward in terms of us possibly cultivating a relationship. But again, if we're not going to do so from an honest place, what's the point?
Wow.
It's a waste of time.
We need to change the narrative. People need to start saying, when people show up to the holidays or to somebody's cookout, people just need to say, hey, where were you two planted? Like, where was your soil?
Okay.
What soil do y'all come from, right? And let's just cut to the chase. Oh, we met in cyber soil. Oh, y'all go over there. No, just play.
What does it matter where you met? I know
I'm teasing, but I'm teasing, but I'm not teasing. I'm
right.
saying that because the reason why I say it matters is because let's take it to marriage. The whole point of marriage is blending lives together to become one.
Right.
Do you know how difficult it is to blend two 40-something, 30-something, 50-something? I know you know. I'm just saying lives to when that person has had their whole life of good, bad, and ugly, your whole life of good, bad, and ugly,
right.
And you go forward with it, right? And you make it work. Some don't make it work. But all I'm saying is sometimes, and this is just a notion, I'm not saying this has to be what it is, but all I was saying is sometimes, like you mentioned, you were fortunate.
Yeah.
Sometimes if you come from cyber world, that's adding a whole nother level of ambiguity to the blend. It just does. I don't care if nobody say it adds an entirely different level of ambiguity. And now you just like, oh, you know what I'm saying? So my point is, you know, you gotta just say to yourself, listen, we are allowing the world and its devices to make us forget about what's important and what really matters. And at the end of the day, commonality really is the gift.
Right.
It really is. And it's not easy to come by, but it's what we really need to be looking for when we're out here doing this, you know, trying to get this thing right. And I know that there are different mini memes, and yes, you know, I know Demetra is probably like, whatever, Charles. But anyway, so all I'm saying is, Demetra, sometimes some of these ways people meet people, I mean, some of these ways, I'm sorry, they're not optimal. Even if they are available to us, they're not necessarily everything placed in front of you on a plate. Heck, look how we done got about our food. Oh, what is in there? I'm not going to eat that. Give me this. I'm vegan. We're picky about our food, but we're not picky about our choices.
True.
And we're consuming them, aren't we? We're eating them. I'm just joking. But anyway, no, we're consuming them.
Was that Danny?
Yeah. No, I'm saying that's, we gotta be serious like that. Like seriously, if enough of us have taken enough turns around the track of love. We done went around the track. We done met the preacher so many times. We know the size suit they wear. Wow. So the point is, you will say to yourself, I don't want to find myself in that position again. As unfortunate as it is, I don't want to. If I can help it, I want to give God. I want to give God assistance by listening to Him when I choose this time. I don't want to go off on my own understanding, proceeding the foolish route. Right? When I have things in front of me that will guide me and help me to decide and choose correctly. Our first nature of us is to be defensive of truth. But it is what it is. It's when things come, truth don't feel good, even to me. But it is what it is. And at the end of the day, I stand on the fact that the more in common, the more of a lifeline you have. The more indifferent, the more of a risk you will live. That's just what it is. You got to be able to say, listen, me and this person, we don't do everything together. Okay, we're learning, we're discovering, we're communicating. But we are tilling, like you said, we're tilling the ground around us.
True.
We're not perfect, but we're tilling the ground around us so that we can discover what works dynamically for us. Right. All I'm saying is, these things out here, it's so many devices in ways that we are being handed. I mean, look at perfect example. That show that's very interesting about popping the balloon, right? You ever seen the show? I'm sure everybody has seen the show on YouTube. What it is, Adam, is talking about people, a guy or a lady, a guy will come out and it'll be like 10 women. So when he starts talking or when he starts introducing himself, if he says things they like, maybe the balloon won't get popped. If he starts saying things they don't agree with, pop, pop, pop. If he wears something wrong, and then the lady will come over there and say, why did you pop your balloon? Well, he's nice. I just don't like how he dressed. So the point I'm making is we're being pushed There are things being pushed in our faces and devices of trying to find love and dating that while entertaining, it's not healthy at all.
Okay.
It's not healthy for anybody to get rejected right in your face amongst many people and amongst the world. That will damage someone deep, deep, deep down on the inside. Now somebody may play along to go along on the show, but if somebody say the wrong thing to you, you're gonna go home and your self-esteem is no more good.
True.
So this is why I say we have to kind of watch these things that we're being fed, and you got a right to say, yeah, that's funny, but I'm not subscribing to that to do what I need to do for me.
Right.
It's entertaining, but it's not healthy. And so, again, I'm just saying, I see enough of these relationships around me, and even things that I may deal with my own self, where we struggle because we don't do the necessary proactive work to peel back those layers to discover all that we need in commonality. And instead, we choose to be lazy and just exist. Well, it's comfortable. They're not bothering me too much, so I'm go ahead on and let it go. And then as soon as the person starts nudging on you, you explode because listen, leave me alone. You mad now because they don't understand when you need peace and when you engage. But that comes from communication and talking and learning each other so that we can know how to properly navigate this all the time.
Yeah. I mean, again, just from my own personal experience, because of the fact that I am in an interracial marriage. My wife is Mexican, and I'm African American, and so we come from two different walks of life. We come from two different upbringings. We literally come from two different countries. Different values, but in all of our differences, and let me say this about differences: differences are important and should not be ignored. Because they make us who we are as individuals. What's the point of being a clone of somebody else and you have no individuality? There is nothing unique about who you are as a person. So you absolutely we should definitely enjoy our differences. But in terms of being in a relationship, because she comes from a different part of the world and I come from a different part of the world, and our experiences are different in terms of what we have seen, what we have been through, what we've experienced. And in all of those differences, we have to discover those things that are common to both of us. One of the things that Maria had told me initially that kind of, I guess drew her in was my faith in God. Mm-hmm. That, she didn't want to be with somebody who did not have the same faith as she has. Mm-hmm. Which makes a difference. It's not all the difference, because even if you are of the same faith, you can still not have a whole lot of things in common. All you got is faith. Well, you need a little more than just faith in common to be able to pursue a valuable relationship with somebody. Yeah. And so, and what I'm trying to say is that we're different, but we had to look at and really discover, but in each of us, those things that each of us had in common with one another. So that way, when we built the relationship, it wasn't just built on attraction, and attraction is a part of it. It wasn't just built on having a good time, and a good time is a part of it. But there had to be some common things between the two of us that we both share. And that's really kind of the point of having something in common, is that these are things that we share with one another. These are the things that we both are able to relate to as two people in a relationship, that we're not just, going on separate paths, but we're sharing the experience with one another because we both have something in common.
Yeah. And so, like you said, differences, let me say this, differences are necessary, but the differences should complement. It shouldn't divide.
Yeah.
Those differences, we can be as different, somebody from Russia and I'm from USA, but those things that are different between us should complement us, or they will divide us. That's all I'm saying. Here's
the thing, though. So even if, because I'm coming from my own personal experience, and so sometimes the differences should complement, but there are often some differences that don't complement.
Yeah,
and I'm talking about my own personal.
Personal grace has got to come in play.
Right, and that's where that's where again the commonality comes in, but also the understanding of that person comes in.
Yeah.
That the difference is not to bring division, but I understand your difference. Now I'm not different in that way, which is cool, and we need to be okay with that. That you're different in your way, I'm different in my way, but that does not necessarily mean that we can't have anything in common.
Yeah,
the differences are the differences. That's what makes us who we are as individuals. You know what I'm saying?
And sometimes, if we were to phrase what you just said another way, sometimes what we do is we give people a pass until that difference becomes a problem. As long as that difference is not a problem, it's okay. But rest assured, if that thing that's dividingly different becomes a problem, I knew I didn't sign up for this. Let me tell you something. I don't know where I found you. I'm just making a point, but sometimes that can get like that in some cases.
It can. And again, this is where, and I'm going to get a little deep on this.
Come on.
This is where you really have to understand the person that you're with.
True, that's true.
Or rather, let me put it in different terms. You have to stand under the truth of that person in order to be able to appreciate them. Yeah. Appreciate not only the things that you have in common, but also find value in the differences. Even when the differences are not complementary of one another. This is what makes us individuals. This is how we are unique from one another. That we're not the same. Yet in our differences, there is something that unifies us. There is something that brings us together. Yeah. There is something that binds us together. Yeah. In this way, we are able to walk together. How can two walk together unless they agree or have an understanding of one another? So even in all my commonality, I still need to be able to engage and understand you as a person. That you're not like me and I'm not like you. But I appreciate you, not only for the common things, but for the things that are also different between the two of us.
Wow. All right, on tonight.
Since you want to bring me out like that.
Come on, let's go. I knew what I was doing good. No, but listen though. At the end of the day, so this is just to people overall. This is just something to think about. Because like I said, it's very clear we all have our ways and perspectives of meeting someone, whether different, whether alike, whether common, what have you. I will just say, from a spiritual umbrella, that in the times that we're living in, dispensations of grace are expiring. And also, people are waxing worse by the day. So that means your choices are becoming less and less viable because the world is becoming closer and closer to its callback. So you understand? So my point is, when we are looking and when we are desiring and praying for these people, it's really bigger than the typical notions of the external flesh, lusty foolishness. Like what you find today, you really need to be grateful for and really hold to it tight. Because the people that are out here today is on a whole other mental track. And this is why mental health is such at a level, mental health issues and things like that. People are bruised mentally, emotionally. They have been hurt for years. They have held things internally. People haven't, for lack of better words, opened their mouths and screamed because they've held in a lot of pain. And so what's happening is we're online or in church or wherever you are, meeting people that are in excruciating pain, but they don't want to go through the pain alone. So they mask themselves as available options. But they're not available. They're just an option, right? They're out here. And so this is what I'm saying. When we are going through these merry-go-rounds looking for these people and trying to find that match. You know, it doesn't hurt if you have a source that you pray to really consort there first before you go consorting yourself. Because we always want to be the boss of what's happening, and that's right, that works for me. When really, to be honest, a lot of us don't know what works for us. If we looked at our track record, the track record say you lost more than you won. So you gotta say, consort with God and ask Him, is this the right path? Am I expending my energy in the right area first with this person? Is this a worthy investment for my life? Because if not, we're wasting. Let me tell you something, man. I have seen some people and have experienced some situations in getting to know someone, getting to date someone, that if you sat there and allow what you saw to just keep riding, you'll be in an asylum. Because people move crazy. And you know why they move crazy? Because they move according to their own understanding and ways. And to them, it makes sense. But to the world, you know what you do and how you act don't make no sense for somebody your age.
Right.
You need to either go back over there to that person, make up and be where you need to be, or stop posing as a single imposter, because you're not really single. You're emotionally wound up and saying you're available, but you're not. And so this is making this whole ride that we're most of us people that are on, that are people that are single, that is, they're on these roller coasters looking for someone and bouncing all around. And this world is not offering you no peace. It's all crazy. Totally.
God, that whole that masking of the pain. And
we out here, man. This is what I tell people, never forget this part. When you're out here entertaining and allowing your ear to be fed, acting is a skill. Authenticity is a gift.
Okay.
So just remember, you're going to 9 times out of 10, you will entertain more auditions than you will real sermons of authenticity.
Right.
People will come out here. Everybody has an elevator 30-second pitch to get in your brain and your psyche. Right. So it's up to you to fortify yourself to say, yeah, I'm single. I would love to have somebody, who will be with somebody, but at what cost? Am I desperate?
Right.
Do the tag on my arm look like it got marked down, or am I maintaining my value?
Wow.
So you just got to keep it like that.
I mean, how stressful is it to portray a character, but it's not you?
Ooh.
How much pressure is that for a person not to be who they really are in order to win the favor of someone else? Yeah. To catch somebody else's eye, to perpetrate and to literally show yourself as you really aren't.
Yeah.
Just because you want somebody to look at you.
Yeah.
You want somebody to spend time with you. All the while, we said this before, you bleeding all over everybody.
Yeah.
Trails of blood. Oh my God, your blood pressure is so low, it's not even funny because you bleed all over.
That's it.
But you won't take the time out to deal with the actual issue that you have.
Yeah.
Because you're afraid that people are going to see you for who you really are. Hey, listen real good. I want y'all to listen real good. Every last one of us need help.
Yeah.
Not near one of us. Lord, I said my grandma right now. Not near one of us can make it on our own.
Yeah.
We need help. The problem is we don't know how to always ask for help.
Yeah.
We don't always know how to ask for healing.
Mm.
We don't always know how to ask for these things. My prayer, my hope is that we learn how to ask for help. How that we are able to recognize that we have reached the limitation of our skill and our ability.
Yeah.
And that we are able to say, hey, you know what? I need some help with this. Listen, y'all.
I can't do this. I can't do this.
I can't do this on my own.
Yeah.
I have learned that when I don't know how to do something, I'm gonna ask somebody for help. Man, what? You as a man, listen, brothers, y'all listen to me real good. Learn how to ask for help.
Yeah.
I know you, man, you strong and you got muscles and you smart and you intelligent, but the reality is you are limited. You are a finite, not infinite, a finite resource.
Yeah.
You don't have it like that. Learn how to ask for help.
Yeah. And learn how to risk being, listen, the challenge of asking for help is the risk of not only being rejected, but looking at as weak. This is why a lot of people live in silence, because they could be over here having a whole problem that their friend or other counterpart can deliver them out of. But your pride gets in the way. Your fear of somebody saying, I'm sorry, I can't do that. You mean to tell me you don't got yourself together enough to help yourself? Oh, never mind then. I'm not going to ask, right? So you don't want to ask, or you don't want to be looked. Some people don't want to ask. Specifically, men don't want to ask for help because it's hard enough being who we are, let alone to strip down something and be chastised for it.
Wow.
You rather keep on what you got on and weather the beat, but to take it off and be vulnerable and then still be ridiculed for being genuinely vulnerable. That's a scary place. But the point is, we gotta get better than that, because a lot of us out here, there are a lot of people that, whether you say, we all tell everybody when you ask you how you doing, I'm good, but you doing bad shows up in the relationship.
Right.
First thing you super guarded. You don't trust nobody. You don't believe nobody. Everybody's out to hurt you. Everybody's going to do this. I don't have time for this. I'm going to go do me and go 3 doors down and get treated the same way. So that's the craziest mindset. We bounce around and avoid fixing ourselves and go other places looking to see if we can have a different type of flexibility with a different person. Wow. Yeah, somebody may think you more finer or handsome than the other person, but again, eventually they will still see the fragmented version of you. And when they see it, now you got to address and be confronted with the same thing before. When people see weakness, it's either they're going to dismiss you or you're going to become an opportunistic opportunity. So it's your business to strengthen yourself so that you can navigate this madness out here. Because you got to be strong. It ain't for the faint today. Wow. Yeah, that's for sure.
Well, I get the strong part. I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna say nothing else because we got to wrap it up. But I think it's important that we have trusted sources, people that we trust, people who we can be, who offer us a safe space and a safe place. And we've said this time and again, that it's important to have people who are in your life that you can actually go to ask for help.
Yeah.
That you don't have to bear the burden of whatever it is that you're going through by yourself.
Yeah.
That there are some people in your life who can help you get healed and get whole. I think that's so important nowadays. When it comes to mental well-being, when it comes to us just living in this life, that again, we can't do it by ourselves. That we need to be able to be with people who we trust. You know what I'm saying? It's man, we need somebody who we can show our scars to, and they won't reject us.
Yeah,
and help us. You know what I'm saying?
It's no feeling in the world. How you know that you are properly aligned with someone is you could be in the same room. You can be over there cleaning your old record cases. You dusted them off, and the other person over there reading a book, and y'all are in the same room, ain't saying a word to each other, but both of you are content. Wow. You're content because the foundation of what you need is there. We get bored and we want to do these other things because we really aren't content with the other person. We are there with them physically. We may like something they have. Maybe the person may have something good and all this kind of stuff like this. But at the end of the day, listen, you got to make sure what you have is solid. Because if you want to weather all of these storms today, you need like just like on the cars, they got all season tires. Is your relationship all season? Or isn't for specific season? I don't just want a summertime go outside relationship. Is it all seasons? Yeah, you need to be all seasons. That's it.
I just got summertime outside, John. Summertime outside.
That's it. That's all. Where's Maria? Maria, he talking trash, Maria. Come, Maria. Come. No, I'm just playing. But anyway, no, but we appreciate you guys for tuning in today on Common Ground. Is it the best way to meet someone today? As we found in here, it's kind of sporadic, common ground. We all have our opinions, but nonetheless, it's a great show. Nonetheless, I appreciate everybody. We appreciate everybody for tuning in to Unique Perspectives Love Talk Radio. And as normal, we will be here every week, same time, 4:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. And in the near future, if anything were to change with our times and schedules, we would definitely let you guys know well in advance. Oh, wait a minute. What did someone say at the end here? Eva, Sister Eva Taylor. Hey, Sister Eva. Eva says the acronym when you say you are fine is feelings inside, not expressed. Oh, that's good. That's the truth. And that's really what... Hey, I can count many times when somebody say you good. Oh yeah, I'm good, and I be submerged in the sunken place.
Wow.
I tell you I'm good, but I'm not. So the point is,
you need somebody who's sensitive enough to you, to be able to detect and discern you ain't good.
For somebody. This is why it's important for commonality, because a common person can see you. The external person won't be able to be like, oh, you say you okay? They go about their business. But the person that feels you can see you. That's what we need. People that not only feel us, but can see us. That's how we both get delivered from us. Anyway, all right. We will see you guys. No, that's it. Now I think now it's time to act up. So I'll see you guys in a minute. I guess we caused enough trouble today, Mr. Ford.
Yeah.
might like that groove. Anyway.
That groove's not good.
Yeah. But no, man.
It's like a nighttime groove you drive and you got the windows down and
just jam. That's it.
Yeah.
No, but seriously, at the end of the day, yeah, we just, like I said, I mean, it's too late in the day. I can't say enough. It's too late in the day to only be concerned with feeding one part of yourself. We have many things that need to be nurtured. So you have to be able to meet the person and deal with the person that can meet you at the points of your needs, not just the external stuff that'll look good on your shoulder or your arm, or they're a good discussion piece to your inner circle and all that. It takes more than that to grow with somebody today.
True.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah. All right. What? Who said something now?
She said the lust part. I think it was in relation to what you were just saying.
Oh, lust. That's right, Bruce. The lust part is that's, like you said, that's all that's being promoted. No, let's take that back. Lust is being engineered on the 10th level today.
Wow.
Everything about it today is being introduced. Lust, 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 and then lust. And if you're not grounded, you will fall and bump your head a few times. So you got to be grounded to deal with these things, because the engineering of today is being engineered to keep us from being near and keep us far apart. Because the way this stuff is happening now, it's all being engineered to be transactional. It's not relational anymore. It's transactional. We here, but why are we here? What am I getting out of being here with you? What is, I need to see it either in money. I need to see it in materialism. I need to see it in provision of some sort. Are you paying my rent, mortgage, whatever? Are you co-signing for my car? Am I living on your couch? Whatever. Everything is transactional. So we got to be responsible for changing that narrative to make it more positive in the way we know that it can be, because we're not leaving any blueprint for our children at all.
Wow.
Yeah, that's why the younger generation today is off the hook, because they don't have no example today.
Wow.
So yeah, it's crazy. The grown-ups is just as ratchet as them.
True.
Yeah, it's crazy. But anyway, all right. Look, Bruce said the devil. And
yeah.
Oh. Oh gosh. All right, y'all. Well, appreciate it. Much love. Thanks for tuning in. Till next time. Peace.
Peace.